You've got before where you started on the left-hand side versus where we are now on this right-hand side. And you can just see how the change in setup is fantastic. Wrong line. So right shoulder just outside right ankle, and left shoulder just outside left ankle. So in a great postural position. You can just see how the grip on the left is a little bit weak, and the shoulders almost look twisted, don't they? They look kind of like twisted and open. But on the right, you just look absolutely solid. And this was towards the end of the session on Saturday, just FYI. On the right, as we move back, we are going to see you rotate around your center point much better. So your lead hip doesn't really leave that line there, versus the right hand side. We obviously had an awful lot more sway and that lead shoulder trying to move down more. I also want you to notice the quality of the right arm position. So you can still see the right arm in front of the chest versus the right arm behind or to the side of the chest. This inevitably means that you're going to see more sideways on the way down and a head position which would eventually start to lean back. And this is why the ball striking is so difficult for you, because you're relying on your tip, your side to side movement, whereas on the right hand side you can really start to see a better rotation around to your left hand side, not lifting the head back and up anywhere near as much, and you just look more kind of lower, more squatted in a good way to create a bit more power. And one of my favourite, very, very subtle things is those hands are at the same spot there, and we see more sharpening on the right, less sharpening on the left. We also see the right foot staying flatter versus the right foot firing too early. So your really big key is to continue to work on this right kind of hip moving back and around, and therefore keeping you against your sway line on that right hand side. That spine angle is absolutely fantastic. The grip obviously plays a vital role in this, because you're feeling more over the ball, and therefore if the grip was on the weaker side still and you're feeling more on top of it, you would maybe feel as if you're going to spin it off to the right hand side, but now you just feel as if you're going to draw it. Okay, so amazing work, love the progress, and I cannot wait to see how you get on this year. So really try and fill this right pocket. The key part is, if I had like my hand against your head in your right pocket, I'd want your right head to feel as if it moves away, but your head not to move towards my hand. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So that'll feel just a little bit more kind of like chest over the right leg, yeah? Yes. Which will feel as if everything gets a bit deeper. Mm-hmm. It's more. Beautiful, beautiful, hold it there. So there, your left hip is slightly outside this lead shoulder, yeah? Whereas on the screen earlier on, it's not on there in a minute, but that was a bit too straight, yeah? It's me trying to probably concentrating so much on not doing that. Yeah. I've done the opposite, kind of, almost. That's what I want you to feel. Oh, okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, love it. That's it. Yeah. Just set it. To the top. Beautiful. Just nudge it through. Doesn't matter whether you want to go, and just nudging it. But that. So it double it does to the path almost immediately. So kicks the path more to the right. Yeah. Okay. Because generally, it depends how you react to it from the top. If we get here, it's usually more fade-wise, unless better players like you have a lot of early extension to essentially correct the spine angle that they know they need to do. So the only reason why we bottomed out angle of attack is because I just said chip it, and you didn't have your good aggression through the stone. That's right. Let's put it at the top. Tomorrow, I think that's it really, like, just to see how it goes. It's going to have a cold spell coming supposedly, so you can't really catch a break, can we really, with weather? No. Christmas was alright, it was quite mild.
nice, isn't it? Just the weather is all over the place at the moment. It's Portugal. Hips left. Yeah. Well done. Yeah, I want to go back to Spain as well. Portugal just, you know, 4 or 5 months would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. From November to March. So when you look at this will not look potentially as drastic as it feels, but this was 2 swings, I think. Slide down. Versus very, very fine difference.
Yeah. You know what you're saying there, like,
Yeah.
that angle there, you know, it's not massive, but that's straight,
Yeah.
and that's slightly,
Yeah. Do you notice anything with your arms there as well?
a little shallower?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So the whole kind of pelvic sway away from target starts to make the chest get too extended and the general kind of like position of the chest get too left, which will generally give us high arms. Whereas when you feel the hips stay a little bit more left and the chest turn into that right side a little bit better, you feel the arms feel a little bit deeper. And when Simon gets here, we'll get a video from down the line, but we're hopefully like there, the swing plane jumped down to 57. Okay?
Oh yeah, 60, 69 or something just now.
Exactly, yeah. So average of 63, isn't it? I think in the bottom of that box. So when it gets to 57, what could you feel through strike? So if you're steep through strike, what do you have to do?
If I get too high,
Yeah.
I have to correct. So I not, well, just to get to the bottom of the ball, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm more shallow, I don't have to correct, it kind of just goes through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're steeper and you want to hit a draw, you would have to have more early extension to effectively
Kick it out.
Yeah, exactly, because you can get the shaft kind of vertical, right? So this is, old Simon would be here, and on the way down he would have his early extension, which gets the spine angle where he wants it, but gets the club bottoming out too much, so he lacks a bit of angle attack. Whereas when the shaft gets a bit shallower, or more on plane, because we can get too shallow, more on plane, you have complete freedom and you can rotate left as much as you like, and you'll see that the club head doesn't necessarily have to move outside in. And it basically gives you the opportunity to rotate more left. Whereas when you're tipped and steep, rotation would make you usually steeper and more out to your path. So it makes kind of downswing feels so much more free rather than having to have that tip back that you feel with the driver.
Yeah.
The driver potentially, because you play the ball further up on the stance of the driver, you really need to make sure you're in your tilts rather than the chest pointing at that forward ball position. So it feels a bit more tricky, but that's a great sign of that swing direction getting shallower there. Love it, Simon.
I feel pretty good.
That's probably good. 58 swing plane. Lost my mouse. 58.1 swing plane, 0.4 swing direction, 5 degrees down.
That's quite nice, yeah.
Mega for you.
Beautiful, yeah, really
Absolutely mega. 3.5 on the inside, 2.7 shut.
Cool.
I mean, you can ramp up the pace as much as you like when you have the swing in that kind of slot. That's fantastic.
Oh, too late then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what's
Wanna
that?
hit the
25
hole
minutes? Yeah, fine.
Just do that every single time.
What?
Never gonna happen again. Not for a little while. Too much. I mean, I'd still be happy. Like, it's felt a little bit thin, but it's in the fairway.
Also, I think like, you know, lateral miss. When you look at that, where's the flashing? So that's this dotted line here is 5 yards right.
Ah, cool.
So that's not even 10 yards right. Most greens are what, like 20 to 35 yards wide, maybe on slightly wider greens. So that's still catching the right edge for a bad swing.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't even a bad swing, which didn't square closer.
Yeah.
So then you go, oh, that's actually just fine.
Oh, so the club path, because the club path is into it up.
Yep.
That face then has to be almost. If the club path is say 5 up, face of path has to be like -2 or something. So it,
Yeah.
so it kind of. So you're doing the. So you're doing that.
Yeah. A good rule of thumb, whatever your path value is, you want it to be about half. So for the sake of my maths, if you're 5 degrees into out, you want to be between probably 1 degree sharp and 4 degrees sharp, somewhere in that variance, because we're not robots, obviously. Whereas when you're 1.4 from inside and 1.5 open to that, you're 3 degrees open to your target. It's just now this little soft fade off to the right, a little short right miss.
Cool.
Whereas when we see this one,
Yeah.
3.5 half, 2.7 sharp at the face. You don't want the two numbers to be the same as each other, because that could potentially mean the ball would miss more left.
Yeah.
So it needs to be open to target. This is just sensational. So the longer irons are basically the clubs which will be the leading indicators of whether you're making a good swing or a bad swing.
Yeah.
If these get a bit clunky and a bit fat and a bit deep on low point, you would be tipping again. And if you make because it will feel like a flatter turn, right, which will show the swing play out, which will benefit the longer irons. And even 2 iron and 1 iron should be in a good spot. And again, they want to have a 50 degree swing plane. So if you do feel like being steep, they'll be the clubs which will be no good if you are steep.
Sure. It's almost like the longer you go in, the less steep you are. Not super more.
Yeah, no, definitely. Shaft gets longer, ball gets further away. Driver, ball gets elevated, shaft gets longer even still.
That makes sense.
So it's like putting a ball on the top of the sofa over there. You wouldn't swing on a 60 degree swing plane, you would swing on like a 10 degree swing plane.
Yes.
To match where the ball is. Same for kind of sloping eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, very chunky. I would just get that grip a little bit more in the fingers, just a touch more. It's more like I sometimes feel like it's creeping up.
Yeah, like that.
More
Right,
like
yeah,
just.
spot earlier.
So it's like just running in between the first knuckles there. Wrap the fingers round first. So a bit more around the fingers. There, wrap the fingers around, and then this fleshy bit sits at the top. That's better. That's better. I saw the club, then I forgot to move.
Yes, it's a little.
I thought I just did that and I didn't actually.
Yeah, so I feel like keeping that hips left and then turn out of the way. That swing. Yeah. That's better. That's better. Settle that. Nice. Well done, mate. Well done. Good numbers there for the 6-9. Like it?
Yeah, that was better.
Like it? We've got goals for this year.
Below 5 handicap.
Hello,
I mean, I've got a few put handicap stuff in, but
Yeah.
7.7 at the moment, but I haven't got anything in for like 3 or 4 months just because it's like
Yeah.
winter and horrible and gross. And
Yeah.
don't really want my handicap to go up for no reason. So I'm like, I'm into a frozen green, watching it bounce off. Like,
Yeah.
that's a 6.
I saw a video yesterday actually of this guy who was like 150 yards away. He hit it, but it like almost kind of topped it. So it had a bit of topspin to it, and it rolled about 150 yards across a lake and up to like 5 feet. And it was just like golf at the minute. It's just shit.
It's ridiculous.
So those are the ones. We'll just do a couple more. Those are the ones which where you get a bit back on it here, and you don't quite get around enough.
Yeah.
So if it ever does get a bit heely and a bit open and a bit right, it's just that kind of reverse tip on the way back, on the way down. A couple more, Nick. Sure. Yeah, good swing. Good swing. Love that.
Fucks.
Love that.
It's just that, like you said, it sounds like to say squeeze the orange
Yeah.
just means like it's in my brain to make sure I do it.
Yeah.
I'm not like, nope, you didn't do it. It's like,
Yeah. But hopefully, over time, and I think you're basically there now, aren't you, really, where you can really start to feel what good's like and what bad's like.
yeah,
And then you almost have this mental roadmap as to what to work on when X happens. When I'm hitting it high right, what's the feel? Is it grip or is it because I'm leaning back? And you start to self-diagnose to a point, and we can just confirm things like we do.
and the more I'm drilling it in, the less I'm like thinking, do this, do that, do this. It's like, I've got to now like just do the grip,
Yeah.
and now it's like just head, hips, and squeeze the orange. Nice. And it's not a lot, but like, because it's not all one thing. Like,
Yeah.
stance grip, because they're like one after the other.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to go, right, I'm here now, how does we do is just turn.
It's like a simple checklist.
Yeah.
And a feel, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Not bad, mate. Not bad.
Yeah, but chunky.
You go a little bit more out to the fingers and that go back up. There. Yeah. Flush.
Yes, I did.
Flush.
Never gets, I say never gets the one you do when you do it again.
That's fantastic. I think honestly, with this one, it just looks like the grip gets a little too in the.
It's
in the kind of
creeps up.
Yeah, it's not quite in that first knuckle of the middle two fingers. It's really almost as if, if you're, I'm not saying mine's a perfect grip, but it always surprises people how in the fingers it is.
Oh yeah.
Like it's literally not palmy at all.
Yeah.
And that, I think, just means A, the face gets stronger. It also allows more leverage, which I always think when you grip it really good, you pick it better. Whereas when it gets a bit palmy, you tend to hit it a little bit more fat. So I just think it helps with the end of the tap. Nice.
Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Definitely.